yesterday, so I'm going to take my MK8 Fiesta ST out for a drive and then explain to you why I think this car is still one of the best value cars you can get for your money in 2024. I just had to stop there. Another problem that I have with this car fairly regularly, so every maybe once a month I have to top up the coolant. It kind of drops below the minimum, but then it, you know, I'll top up and it doesn't lose it so quickly that I'm constantly topping up. It's just that I have to do it from time to time. Change down to third and pop her into sport now that we're warm. It snowed yesterday, about that much snow, and the roads are all quite filthy still from all the snow. Anyway, the point of this video, I wanted to give this MK8 Fiesta ST a review. I've owned it for about 10 years now. I've done 10,000 miles on it. I've learned some things about the car. Overall I'm happy with it, but I wanted to share with you some of the key kind of points and reasons why I love driving this thing. Firstly, the main reason I love this car is, I mean, first of all, how much torque it's got. It's bloody good fun. Yes, you've got a manual gearbox there, but honestly, I don't think an automatic gearbox would be any fun in this car. I think the point of this is that it is just a bit of a weapon to drive. That's what I like about this car. You can drive it like a normal, sane person, or you can drive it like an absolute psychopath. It really doesn't matter. It does both extraordinarily well. I mean, the cruise control, when you're on the motorway, you just click and set. See there, it says 22. Bingo. Like, just cruise. Cruise down the motorway. It's got heated seats, it's got climate control, it's got a nice CarPlay screen. Yeah, it's comfortable, and it's a nice car to drive. I don't think it looks as chavvy as the MK7 STs. I know they did kind of have a bit of a reputation for being kind of chavvy. But in terms of the driving experience, this is a lovely car to drive. They're kind of coming down in price to about 10 grand now. You're maybe £6,000 or £7,000 UK for a MK7 ST in good condition. You're probably better spending the extra money and getting one of these. Given all the features and how much nicer it feels, you know, the steering wheel is lovely. It's got a nice flat bottom steering wheel. It's got the, you know, performance pack with the differential on it. So now that we're out of the sun, or kind of out of the sun, I thought I'd talk about some of the bad bits about the car. Firstly, for a 6-year-old car, a lot of the heat shields have come loose on the bottom of the car, and more than I had hoped, actually, around the bolts the heat shields actually come quite loose, which is annoying, because in every other way this car still feels pretty new. Other bad bits, I don't know if you can hear it in this footage. I know that audio is not the best in this car. There's a slight rattle coming from somewhere in the dashboard, and I've heard from another YouTube channel that it could be something like there was a loose trim part inside the dash, blah blah blah, but I know his car came new from the factory, so I'm not sure why this car, and I only started doing it, in fairness, about 3 months after I bought the car. About September 23, October 23 we bought the car, and it was about Christmas when I started doing it. Not really sure why. I haven't bothered getting it fixed. It bugs me a bit, and most of the time I have my music cranked up anyway, so you don't really notice the rattling. I'll insert a clip here, but as you use the overhead light, when you get in the car it turns on but it won't turn off. It doesn't sound like a big problem, and I am just in the habit of like reaching up and clicking it off and on like that, but it does get quite annoying over time, and it's the sort of thing that would be nice if it didn't have that issue. Decided I wanted to go and get coffee up here quickly. Now, since I'm here waiting for coffee anyway, I thought I'd talk about those tyres, granted, could be a tyre brand, or it could be the fact that the previous owner is quite fond of just parking the car against the curb. But they don't hold air very well. It's November now, it's not so bad in the summer. In the winter, those back two tyre pressures there drop quite a lot, and I'm topping up more or less weekly. It's been about a week since I last topped it up. Not great. The other thing is the stop start, as I'll try and show you now. The stop start, right, out of gear, foot in the brake, foot off the clutch. See that there? Stop start not working, but it should be. And you reactivate it, nothing. It doesn't work. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It just seems to be quite random whether or not it works. Coffee has been acquired. I'm not going to go down to quieter spot because it's a better spot for filming the outside of the car. There are a few things that I would change about the stock car. I don't particularly like the way the car looks bone stock. So I'll take you down there and show you what I mean. I'm just going to ban the car back in sports mode. Another gripe I have with this car, it sounds like I'm being negative about it, I absolutely love this car. The sport mode button is there, not where you want to be looking. As a Fiesta driver for life since I turned 17, I had a 1.25 litre Fiesta, about 80 horsepower, terribly underpowered car, very underpowered car, but great fun. The chassis still steered incredibly well on the old Fiesta, when it's the bone stock Fiesta, and that says something. I really drove that car. I probably drove that car a lot harder than this one actually. I don't baby this car, but I don't drive it that hard. Pops and bangs, this car has got a GPF valve delete done by, again, previous owner. Quite expensive to undo it, so for now I've kept it, and it makes great pops and bangs. However, bit antisocial, does make the car quite loud to cold start in the morning, which I don't think my neighbours appreciate, given that I live in the flat. I think the thing is, in a car as small as this, you don't really need like Golf R level power. I think too much power kind of means you can't have as much fun within the speed limits. And also I think with the Golf R being four-wheel drive, I just don't think you get the same kind of rowdiness in general that you get in one of these. And even then, the GTI, I would be getting a GTI if I wanted a more comfortable car. Really, this thing's really, you buy this because you like to drive. It happens to be more comfortable than previous generation, but you're buying this because you like to have a good drive, right? I'm in third gear now. There's no shortage of power. I just think there's a point where having more, I don't think it really matters that much for the driving experience, if you know what I mean. Now, in honesty, I don't know if the previous owner tuned this car or not. I'm thinking not, because it's not that quick. It doesn't feel 260 horsepower, if you know what I mean. But listen to that, what I just showed you with the exhaust. I know he's done the GPF delete, but it's kind of nuts, isn't it? I'm going to go for a spin up here. So, as I mentioned, this isn't just a fun hot hatch, which of course it is. It's actually incredibly drivable on a daily basis. I don't think you get half as many of the weird kind of looks that you would in probably a Mark 7. I think it's still quite a respectable looking car. It looks, granted they've made the the looks of this car a bit softer than previous generations, which initially I didn't like. I didn't like the rear end of the car at first, certainly didn't like the front end, but with the lip on the front, I do prefer the front end. The back end's still not the best looking. I think the Mark 7s look better, but I do think that does improve the general sort of public opinion of this car. I don't think you get the same stiff upper lip that you do from older generations whilst driving this thing around. Granted that you're not in sports mode, because if you are, you can be a menace too. So I'm going to head home. I'm going to shut up and you can enjoy the drive. I'll try and show you this car driving and me not yapping for a bit. What I forgot to mention was that this is an ST2, not an ST3. Things like, I don't have a heated steering wheel, I just have heated seats. I don't have a sunroof, and the seats are this fabric here, not leather, which I don't really notice, to be honest with you. Certainly anyone below 25, 30 is probably not going to care about that much. Leather seats would be nice, and sunroof would be really nice, but it does come with extra weight, and it's something else to go wrong too, another mechanical component to break, which thankfully this car mechanically has been pretty sound since I bought it. Nothing really has gone wrong, just minor kind of annoyance sort of things. Nothing major's happened really. It's been a good car. For the money and for the age, and with Apple CarPlay, it's got heated seats. You really can't go far wrong with this thing. I got to say, these tyres are old. I might have mentioned this before, the tyres are old. It still grips incredibly well. Yeah, if you really crank it, like crank the steering wheel, you'll get a bit of oversteer. Sorry, understeer. But it's really, this thing, it's incredible. I've driven all the way up the coast of Scotland, all of Edinburgh up north. I think this car is the best, probably the best fun you can have, because it's not got an abundance of power, which means you get to ring it out if you want to. It's got good torque at the low end, which is what makes it great fun to drive on the smaller windy roads, but it keeps going. You keep your foot down and it'll keep giving you power. It's incredible. I don't know what they've done to get this kind of performance out of a 3-cylinder Ford engine, but bravo. And just like that, if I switch off sports mode, we're driving peacefully again. But as an all-round car, you really can't get much better than this.